school report. And then they flipped page 1. And, it wasn't that great. They saved me the embarrassment. So they read the final teacher's remark saying the boy has great potential if he works a little bit harder. I mean, that's what the teachers say when you don't do that well. So I remember that, and I remind, everybody around me saying, look, all of us somewhere, I'm sure there were some people who were so talented very early on that anything they did, anything they touched turned out to be wonderful. But I think for the vast majority of us, there were some things which worked, some things which didn't. There were days you did well, there were days you didn't. There were some things you passed, there were some which you didn't. And I think that's important to remember in life, because that is very much, part of that attitude towards life, that sense that, you should not be down, you should not feel sort of bad at any setback, and you should be optimistic about the continuous self-improvement which all of us practice and certainly aspire to. Now, as an external affairs minister, and as you can see, an extreme case of stress, there were some takeaways I had. I read the book, I absorbed the book, and I asked myself, okay, so what is it in my own sphere, in my own domain, I experienced, and try to put it down in a Shiv Khera-esque way to communicate to people. And for me, when I look at my own particular responsibility now, but even earlier as a diplomat, I have, over a period of time, tried to aspire to the 3 C's of success. One, of course, is contact. The more people you know, the greater your reach. The second C is chemistry, which is that if you get along with people, they are more likely to do things for you than if you don't. And the third is credibility, that if you are known to be good on your word, when you say things, when you make promises, when you tell people what can be done or what cannot be done, people take you seriously. A lot of people would do things, they would do things first if you know them. 2, they will certainly do things if they like you, therefore the chemistry. But most of all, they are likely to respond to you if they believe you are straight, you are upfront, what you say is what you get. I think that is a very, very crucial attribute, certainly in the world of diplomacy. My second takeaway, and there were elements of it in the book, I would call it today, because we are in the era of art of the deal, I would call it the art of parachuting, which is you drop into a place and get to know as quickly as you can what it is all about. And that's what most, certainly in diplomacy, in the foreign service, as a foreign minister, that's what a lot of us do. You have, a little time to get your bearing.
Today, our cabinet met and discussed about the ordinance, the necessity of ordinance, and we have passed in the cabinet the ordinance, which is now going to govern. The ordinance is intended to stop anything that is going to be totally not in consonance with any type of leveled business. In fact, the property of Maharaja was taken by Act in 1996, Acquisition and Transfer Act in 1996. And it was also questioned, the validity of the act was questioned in the High Court, and the High Court upheld the very purpose and also the capacity, the validity of the law, and now that it is valid law. But it was also again raised in the Supreme Court. Some litigations were filed, but since 1997 there is no stay order against that Transfer and Acquisition Act. And it was made clear that time that the whole property is worth 11 crores, and I understand that the payment was also made 20. Payment is not made. Payment is not made. But however, I will also clarify that again. Let me tell you, when we were to go ahead with the widening of the road, then the litigations again surfaced in Supreme Court and by the family, the interested parties. And at that point of time, the some suggestion of the Supreme Court was made, which was totally not acceptable to the government. It was running to almost 3,000.
Equally important, I think in politics also, no toxicity. 5, respect time. And 6, most important, get a good night's sleep. So these are 6 straight chapters out of your book, which I think are really very sensible advice offered to people who may be very stressed or may not be stressed. You won't be stressed certainly if you follow all these things. Now, let me conclude with a few words about my own experience, 41 years in diplomacy as a professional, 6 years now running as a minister.